Welcome to this podcast. I'm Amrish Balega. I have the promoter of Tech Defense Labs, Mr. Sunny Vaghela, to discuss the sector as well as the company which has launched its IPO. I mean, we all live most of our time in the digital world, but the big question comes up is as to how secure it is. We have physical security wherever we go, whether it's airports, government establishments, commercial offices, banks, ATMs, malls, wherever you go. I mean, even in your housing society, I mean, you have security. But what about online? As individuals, we probably have various security measures like McAfee, Norton, all that in our laptop. But how do large organizations manage this? I mean, you surely must have heard about cyber attacks and data breaches for top organizations like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, where confidential data gets leaked, gets stolen, and then misused. Worse still is the ransomware attack, where the attacker shuts down the system and blackmails the owner for ransom. I mean, many websites get defaced. I mean, this threat is real and has resulted in some of the companies even shutting down, unable to recover from these breaches. Now, who helps you to avoid such breaches? And most importantly, if you're a victim of such a breach or a ransom attack, you need an expert organization to help you recover and safeguard from future attacks. So I'm glad to welcome and introduce Mr. Sunny Vaghela, who is an expert himself and is the founder of Tech Defense Labs, which is a cybersecurity and digital forensics company founded in 2017. They have 350 clients across 13 countries, a team of 145 plus workers, in fact, experts, I would say. And they work with some of the biggest brands. Sunny Vaghela himself has played an instrumental role in investigating the 2611 Mumbai attacks, the Ahmedabad blasts. He has also been instrumental in solving many cybercrime cases, including cyber espionage, data theft, and similar. So I'm glad to welcome Mr. Sunny Vaghela on this podcast, and I will not talk much on the IPO, but we'll try and understand the sector and what are the prospects for the sector. Then I think each of you could do your research, analyze as to where Tech Defense Lab fits in. So welcome, Mr. Vaghela.
Thank you, Ambrish, for having me on your podcast and
Thank you.
really nice and sweet introduction. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So, firstly, I think everybody would like to know, I mean, how did you get into this field? And secondly, can you give some insights on your role in that 2611 as well as the Ahmedabad blast investigation?
Great. So it all started with a curiosity when I was in my ninth grade. A very fine morning, I woke up and saw an email coming from a customer care department of yahoo.com
Mhm.
asking me to verify my email ID. And if I would not have done that, you know, they mentioned that, your mail would be blocked in next 24 hours to 48 hours as well. So I opened that email, click on that link, get my ID password. I was in an impression that, oh, I have secured my account. Next day, I was not able to open that email account. And I tried a lot, then ended up calling a friend of mine and asking him, could you tell me, how come a customer care department can block my email ID? Are they moving a data from some less secured server to some more secured server? He said, it's Sunny, your email ID is breached, it is hacked, and you are a victim of hacking. And a method which is used to hack your email ID is known as phishing.
Mhm.
That was the first time in my life I heard that phishing can happen on the internet also, because till that time I was knowing that phishing can only happen on the sea.
No, but were you a techie that time or it's only after that?
I wasn't a techie that time, but that was a curiosity. That was a trigger point for me to learn hacking. So I was spending almost 12, 15 hours on the computer in my even 10th grade, even my 11th grade. And I was actually, not coming out of my room as well. Uh, and I was actually trying to, learn from communities. There were very less communities were there. I created my own discussion forums, my community.
Mhm.
I'm talking about year 2000, right?
Right.
It's almost
So,
25 years back.
I mean, you became an ethical hacker. I mean, that's what it's called, isn't it?
Absolutely. An ethical hacker, I learned from communities and then I become ethical hacker. But that time when I got an admission in the engineering college in 2004, the word ethical hacking wasn't even existing.
Okay. Okay.
Right. it was only a hacking. So, even if you say that, hey, you are a hacker, you've been treated so negative,
Right.
right? So, but a very interesting incident happened in the very first year of my college. There was a seminar which is to be delivered, and I chosen a topic hacking, and I wanted my seminar to be the best seminar. Now, what did I do? I did the same phishing attack on my, you know, the class colleagues' email IDs, and I
Uh-huh.
gave them 40 people's password out of 120 people studying in my college.
Okay.
Now, during my seminar, I finished it. I picked some random guy whose password was already with me, showed something on the dark screen, a black screen with a green font, because that's what we see all in the movies.
Right,
That,
right.
hackers are working in the dark night, seeing on a black screen, having a green fonts and doing something on the internet. So I did that. And finally, I cracked his email ID, but I was already having a password because he has given the password himself on my fake website.
Right.
So my name has been changed in the college in my very first year. Is not Sunny Vaghela, it's a Sunny Hacker. When you have a hacker as a name, you've been treated differently. So whenever I see technologies, I always see the flaws, right? So when I see a technology, I feel like, how do I crack it, right? So that was a time that curiosity was there, that thrill was there, the fire was there. I found certain problems in the SMS technology using which you can send SMS from any number to any number. I don't need your phone physically to use your number. I can still send an SMS from your number to any number.
Okay.
I found certain problems in the VoIP. I
Mm-hmm.
told the government during my second year of the engineering on certain of the media channels that the terrorists can misuse the technology, and this technology cannot be traced. You cannot find out the whereabouts of it. You cannot intercept it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can still make a call from any number.
Yeah.
So that time a UPA government was there. So I said that, Manmohan Singh can make a call to Musharraf and say that I'm actually going to attack Pakistan on the next day. So that was a time has given me a different.
This is 2611 investigation.
So that was a different investigation. This is how my journey started.
Uh-huh.
I found problems in Orkut, and the moment I found problems in Orkut, it was published that I found some vulnerabilities where I could able to hijack somebody's session on Orkut. It was the first social networking website.
Mm-hmm.
My life has taken a different path. I got invite from local investigating agencies
Uh-huh.
asking me to help on a lot of cases. That,
Okay.
hey, if you're able to hack into Orkut, can't you help us to make sure to secure, Orkut, or rather, trace some of the people who are actually creating fake accounts on Orkut?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a time because the Google was and Orkut was not having an office in India. They're finding a lot of challenging to trace somebody's IP address who are creating a fake profiles on Orkut. I
Okay.
started solving crimes for them in my third year of the engineering.
Uh-huh.
2 years, I've solved 160 cases with them. 2008, I passed out from my college, and the moment I got a degree in my hand, the next month, 26/8 happened. It was the Ahmedabad serial blast. So, as I was working with them as an helping hand for 2 years, they asked me to work on one of the last cases, which was the Ahmedabad blast. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
interesting part in this Ahmedabad blast case was that there was an email which was coming 15 minutes back, right? And the email was coming before Ahmedabad blast, incident in Hyderabad, incident in Varanasi, incident in, Delhi. And the terrorist, the organization was using somebody's Wi-Fi router, which was having a weak password. So they
Mm-hmm.
go to somebody's place, or let's say they go to your place,
Right.
hack your Wi-Fi, connect to your Wi-Fi and send an email and go away in next another 5 minutes of the
Yeah.
time. By the time we trace that email and go there, you
You're
know,
gone.
it would have been 1 hour, 2 hour, and we could not able to catch hold of this particular guy. But I always, believe in two things: is uh, that imagination is more powerful than the knowledge, and I always a firm believer of manifestation. So I always used to keep manifesting that this is a case, Sunny, which you need to solve, and your achievement is written, or the achievement of solving this case is written on your name itself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you have that feeling, the God also support, the whole ecosystem also supports.
Right.
And finally, I found one of the small mistake committed by the media wing of this terrorist organization. And through that, I actually got hold of a guy who is working with Yahoo, having good salary in 2008, and one of the very principal position he was working in that particular company. And he was actually heading that, media organization.
Uh-huh.
Then that achievement came on my name. Then just in 1 month of the time, 26/11 happened.
Right.
These people were attacking, they were given a SIM cards by somebody there, when they actually landed in, or you can say they reached the seashore of Mumbai, right?
Mhm.
Somebody handed over an Indian SIM cards. They
Right.
were getting, commands from the whereabouts on the other side of the country. They were getting calls from VoIP.
Mhm.
So the government actually realized that somebody 2 years back was talking on TV about some problems in VoIP. Terrorists can use this. Why don't we call this guy and ask a help from this guy as well? I worked on it, found out the whereabouts of it, and find out from which ID they have registered this, the VoIP server, the credit card which was used, and which country is responsible for this particular, the crime
Mhm.
as well. So that was a time, these two cases which were of a national importance, or one of the very infamous cases, were solved by me. And
Mhm.
that's how my life into the cybersecurity started. And it was a natural calling after solving this case that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I worked with, the investigating agency for 2 years. I started in 2010 under a brand Tech Defense. That time it was not a private limited, it's the Tech Defense brand. We
Okay.
started as a training company, right? Because that was a time people were not having the right budgets to invest into cybersecurity services. If
Right.
I go and tell them, hey, you want to secure your website, say that no, no, we have a backup. We'll upload a backup if my website is going to be breached, if my data is going to be breached. So data which is now oil, that time it wasn't an oil. People were
Right.
much care about data, and there was no regulations and the mandates were in existence.
Mhm.
So I started training people, creating awareness, started with workshops, had association with one of the premier institutions for my certifications of my
Okay.
training, conducted more than 800 plus workshops,
Mhm.
650 institution during the course of 7 years. I trained more than 60,000 people, and overall across my organization, they were trained more than 80,000 people from 2010 to 2017 in India,
Mhm.
by training those 8 hours, 16 hours, and 24 hours of the workshop. 17, I realized that now it's the right time. People are now putting money into cybersecurity.
Mhm.
People are now giving budgets to cybersecurity services, and they are realizing the importance of cybersecurity.
Right.
We started Tech Defense Lab Solutions Private Limited, which is now TechD Cybersecurity Limited,
Yeah.
is the private limited company. We started with the services, which is where we find problems, in the customers' organization during the course of first 2 years of our inceptions, and we tell them, hey, these are the open doors in your system. You need to patch these open doors before a hacker hacks this particular open doors. Then we started with our GRC vertical. Then we started with our security operations center vertical,
Mhm.
which acts as a 24 cross 7, 365 days a security guard for many of our organizations as well. Consistently for last almost 4 years, we have been growing at an average rate of 100% because of two reasons. One is
I mean, you have quite a few marquee clients. I mean, right? The Rani Group, Piramal.
absolutely. So there was an interesting, thing behind it. When I started my training,
Uh-huh.
my first training I'll be conducting, or my first customer I'll be making, is IIT Bombay.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
when you have an IIT logo, or when you have some outreach program running with IIT Bombay,
Right.
people actually eventually put a trust onto it, and they say that, hey, this guy has trained IITians. So,
Mhm.
we should actually invite him in my colleges as well. When I started my services entity, that was the same thought.
Uh-huh.
In just 1 month of my inception, I have actually closed Adani Ports as my customer.
Oh, okay.
I was behind them, telling them these are the things that you need to secure, right?
Mhm.
And then slowly, gradually, we penetrated it across all the groups as well. Now,
I
when
mean,
such a
you have,
one marquee client,
uh,
the all other customers will actually follow you.
exactly, exactly. I mean, even, like even IT major like Capgemini, you have. I mean,
Correct.
fun
So we've
how.
got Densa Technologies, we've got Capgemini, we've got many majors. They are our customers as well.
But tell me, I mean, one of the most difficult situations of a ransom attack on your client, without naming a client. I mean, how much? I mean, if you can just explain as to how you got them out of that, what had happened, and how did you get them out of that, and how much the client could have lost if not for your solution.
So this is a case with one of the banks. They
Hmm.
are into bank also, and they are developing the core banking solutions for other banks to use also. Right.
Okay.
So, and on their data center, there are around 80 different banks are hosted. So
Hmm.
this was a case where in 2018, where they had a ransomware attack,
Mhm.
and they had a ransomware attack on their critical infrastructure where 80 other banks' infrastructure was actually running.
So huge amount of information.
It was a huge amount of information. They had certain of the backup, they had certain of the disaster recovery center where they have shifted that particular thing. But the most important part was to find out the root cause of the ransomware. You
Mhm.
need to find out that one machine which is actually, becoming a zombie and creating a chaos in your organization itself.
Right, right.
So it was a case where my team was working 24/7 for almost 2 days.
Uh-huh.
We found that one machine not in that customer's premise, but their customer premise, that is the vendor's premise, and
Oh.
that machine was having a ransomware connecting to their particular network, and
Mhm.
that's how it has actually spread it to it. We isolated that, and then we have helped customer to find out the family of ransomware and help them decrypt some of the data which are very critical in the nature, and we
Mhm.
got them back to the you can say that their operations during in just 4 days of the time. And trust
Mhm.
me, ransomware 4 days is a quick time to get the whole recovery and get their operations back to the work as well.
Yeah.
So that was it. The thing. Right now, we're still working with that
And,
customer.
and they didn't have your solution earlier.
They didn't have a solution. They had certain of the solutions earlier, but what was missing point was that they were understanding security is a product. So
Hmm.
what most of the people are right now understanding is, I have got an antivirus, I have got an EDR CrowdStrike, or I've got Symantec, I've got McAfee, I've got firewall like Fortinet also. I'm all secure. But you need to understand security is way beyond those products. There
Yeah.
are products which are already vulnerable, there are applications which are vulnerable, and each and everything needs to have a right patches applied or the latest patches applied on your
Because
system.
it keeps changing. I mean, every day, the person on the other side is getting more smarter.
Absolutely. And I would say that every minute,
Hmm.
the vulnerabilities into those technologies are getting published,
Right.
right? So you need to cope up with that speed. And the organization which was that was missing was they're just conducting a one-time audit in a year, and they
Mhm.
say that, oh, we are all secured.
Right.
So while we're talking about the customer, we need to understand security is not just a product. Security is a process, it's a journey,
Mhm.
right? And that's where we realized the importance of an MSSP services. And we started our managed security services vertical, where we help customer to end-to-end manage their cybersecurity folio by
Mhm.
managing their technology, by giving them all the different pillars of assurance of the cybersecurity compliance, vulnerability management, security operations center, governance, all together into a one thing, so that customer does not need to go to any other vendor, and the customer can rely on us. We have our own SLAs, we bring in our own tools, we bring in our own people to make sure that the cybersecurity start with us and end with us. And
Mhm.
trust me, this is a very much better for a customer, because a CSO or a CXO doesn't want to lose a job by maintaining four vendors and one vendor has not performed the task. So
Right.
you
Right.
have a person who takes accountability and tell them, hey, you are there to do the whole of assurance, but you take a back seat and make sure that you have a peace of mind and you get a good sleep in the night, and
Mhm.
we are there to support you and make sure that you run a threat-free business.
But tell me, I mean, you see, you're a brand yourself. So, I mean, I think you don't have to market the product, but still, how do you go about marketing your product? And one important question is, I mean, how many of them come to you before disaster strikes?
A very interesting question. So till 2020,
Uh-huh.
we always used to say that there are only two types of people are coming to us. One, who are already hacked, right?
Right.
And second is they have a mandates by RBI or some of the regulatory bodies
To have this, yeah.
to have this,
Right.
right? These are the two customers, that we used to get.
Mhm.
After 2020, the regulatory mandates have become very stringent,
Right.
right? They've got the deadlines in the mandates and frameworks.
Right.
We need your whole compliance report on this particular date. And
Mm.
if you don't do that, there's going to be a hefty penalties on them for not submitting the report, not implementing that security control. The third category started after 2020, 2021 is the organization has realized the importance that it is not just an IT problem.
Yeah.
It is a business problem.
Absolutely.
right? Because from 2020 to 2023, we need to say that fortunately, unfortunately, the highest number of data breaches are happening across the globe, and India is actually on the top of the world because we have the highest number of population,
Right.
right? So that was a time there was so much of data. If you look at 10 years back, there was not much data, but now it's all data, data, data is what we are talking about.
And your work actually stops.
Absolutely. Your work stops, your business stops, you lose your customers' trust,
Mhm.
you the brand's trust is lose, and the ultimately the regulatory body would be more stringent. If you are a listed companies or if you're an enterprise or a good organization, that they'll behind you and they'll make sure that you implement a lot of control. So what
Absolutely.
people realize that if I do an investment once I get breached, right? Why don't I do that investment for?
Yeah,
So
because
people realize.
yeah, end of the day, I think it's a basis points.
Absolutely. So they stop considering it to be a cost center. There are some still exceptions are there, but they consider it to be a necessity that they need to do. And
Absolutely.
they take the ROI based on whether my things are secured or not.
Mhm.
What is the security posture improvement that I've been doing in my network, in my websites and everything 360 or not. So I think the things are improving on this ecosystem, and that's the reason the whole cybersecurity industry is also growing at a very rapid pace in last couple of years.
Can you throw some light on your revenue stream? In the sense that it is cost and then annuity income, or how is it? I mean, there's a setup cost, and after that, it's annuity income. And like how many products you have?
Amrish, we are not a product company. We do not develop products. We basically dependent on couple of OEMs which are working with us for last couple of years.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
while I say that there are OEMs which are working with us for last couple of years, we use their product and
Okay.
provide managed services to our customers as well.
Mhm, mhm.
So what we do when we are talking about a services bundle, right? We bring in a tool, but the
Mhm.
customer does not need to worry about which tool that we are bringing in,
Right.
right? We get the tool licenses from the OEM, but that is only a 20 to 30% of that particular whole of a ticket size, because the rest other 70% is all the services that we provide on a top of it by either providing people remotely or either providing people on site in that particular
Right.
organizations.
And that's annuity.
Absolutely. That's the annuity. But yes, having said that, there are certain customers who come to us for a one-time engagement. So
Mm.
for any customers, with any customer, we start small, right?
Right.
Because you see, you go to a doctor and
The
doctors
trust,
say
it's
that,
social trust.
correct. You go to a doctor and doctors say that, Mr. Amrish, you have to get admitted and you have to take a treatment and you have to follow this diet for almost, number of, months or like that,
Yeah.
right? Or you follow this particular medicines and do this course, you'll not believe that. For that, you need to showcase them what their parameters is, whether their hemoglobin high, low,
Mhm.
whether you have a BP or not. So we showcase them by showcasing the organization a maturity assessment. We tell them this is what your maturity is, this is your benchmarks maturity, this is your revenue, this is what you need to do. And if you don't do this, this is going to be a loss that will incur to an organization in next couple of years, right? So a CISO goes to their management and get the budgets for that particular cybersecurity, and then they invest into the multiple other services and the products on that particular cybersecurity portion of that as well.
Mhm.
And that is one of the contributing factor for increasing our revenue as well, right? So when I talk about our revenue, last to last year, it was only and only 13 crore rupees, and now we are at almost 29 crore 39 lakh rupees of the revenue. The
Right.
reason behind that, because the customers where we started small, right now we are actually giving them a bundle services. We
Mhm.
call it an MSSP, or we call it a cyber program management. We create a customized program for them and we run it for a year with a
Mhm.
multi-year engagement with that particular customer as well.
So basically, what is it that you've done in the last 2, 3 years that, like you said, your revenues have doubled? But at the same time, uh,
Correct.
I mean, I think people who have gone through the data and I would say analysts as such, who would question as to how this revenue has doubled. So maybe some explanation on that. And again, on top of it, we are also seeing that the cash flows have been negative. If you can just throw some light on this.
Absolutely. So I'll throw that light. Number one is, as I said, we have an entry point with the VAPT services.
Hmm.
So we give a VAPT saying that, hey, you have this open doors and you need to patch this open doors. Once the customer get the report, he patches all the vulnerabilities. We give the certificate of compliance as a certain empaneled entity, right? We do an upside sell and we do a cross sell to a customer saying that you need a compliance also, you need ISO 27001, you need a resource also. You have this odd on an average 10 to 12 technologies are used by of the customer. If you don't deploy a resource to manage all of this technology, right,
Right.
you may get some sort of a breach also. So we provide them staff, we provide them some other services and convert them into a 1 year, contract itself, right?
Mhm.
But that actually happens over at least a year when you have a good relations with that particular customer. The
Right.
customer trusts you, the customer started trusting you. In next another 3 months, you again do a upside sell, cross sell, and then another 6 months of the time to 1 year of the time, you get that customer converted into a whole of an MSSP.
Mhm.
It's a customer. There is one thing, one reason of the revenue is actually increasing.
Right.
The second reason is nowadays in cybersecurity, it's a vendor consolidation and an OEM consolidation is actually happening.
Okay.
Now, when you have a vendor consolidation, right, they don't want to work with 5 vendors and they say
Yeah,
that
as
I
I mentioned
manage
earlier.
my 5 vendors. I want one vendor who actually give me end to end, the services on that part.
Absolutely.
Number two. Number three is we are in the training vertical of the cybersecurity as well. So
Mhm.
when I was in the training till 2017, it was short-term programs that we were doing. We
Mhm.
took a break of 3 years. We created a curriculum of more than 1,200 hours. We went to one of the government university in 2020, and we have joined hands with that university not to run a short-term programs, but to run the long-term programs on the cybersecurity, which are BTech in cybersecurity, MTech in cybersecurity.
Mhm.
And let me tell you right now, we are having 9 universities, and Parul University, which is in Vadodara, is one of the biggest university where we are getting the highest amount of revenue,
Mhm.
right? And there more than 2,000 students are actually studying the BTech in cybersecurity.
So
Now,
these students, through
yeah,
2000
please,
students
please.
will become CTOs.
The student will become analyst first, security analyst, then they
CTOs,
become manager, and then they become deputy manager, and down the line, 10 years, they'll definitely
exactly,
become a
exactly.
CISO.
And that's the time they will remember you.
Correct. But this is one of the very differentiator that we have is when we started 4 years back in all these colleges, it was only one batch which is running parallel, right? Second year, two batches started running parallel. Third year, three batches. And right now in 2025, in all my universities and partner colleges, we are parallelly running four batches. That is also contributing to the good amount of increase in that particular revenue as well. That is number one. Number two is I started this course because we are in a resource intensive industry. Although we are doing certain innovations of creating our own AI agents to automate certain of the tasks, but still you need a human to verify whether the investigation is done properly or not, whether this scan is done or not, the report is prepared or not, the QA review of the report and everything. What I have done, I've done a pilot project, 1.5 year back when I got a customer, which is a $2 billion, revenue company. And that particular company was into chemicals and they wanted to implement all the solutions in like, 10 days of the time. Now, when they wanted to implement the solutions in 10 days of the time, uh, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, audible. Very,
Yeah. So when they want to implement the solutions in 10 days of the time, I was not having that enough bandwidth to implement that solution. But for me, it was more than, 200,000 US dollar contract, which I need to implement in like 10 to 15 days of the time.
Mhm.
I said, I have got an army of students who are working in these colleges. Why don't we train them on this technology in 5 days of the time? Tell a customer to extend the deadline for another, 5 days and start working for this.
Mhm. Mhm.
44 people from this MTech I have got from all my different universities, send them. I also paid them a small amount,
Yeah.
every single day they were working for me. And trust me, Amrish, they have completed a task none of the other PS can able to do. They've got 6 locations, a ransomware attack, right? They need to implement 4 different technologies, and then customer got into my managed services as well. When that pilot project happened successfully, I was like, wow, this all third year, fourth year guy are the skilled people. I
Yeah.
don't have to invest into skills. They are coming to me. They are skilled also. And yes, one thing that you need to also understand, they are paying me also because they are paying their college fee and get my share out of that particular
Right.
training vertical as well. So that has actually increased the whole of the margin over here. We also took another pilot project. in Parul University, I decided that can I create my SOC, a small SOC there itself? We created a SOC. Although you have invested, a small part into that particular SOC in terms of technology and other thing, but the best part that happened was that I'm not incurring any sort of a charges for the overheads and other thing, and what I need to pay is only the stipend to those particular interns as well. So all these pilot projects, which are done, that has actually resulted into one thing that yes, this are the skilled people. We need to take them. We absorb some of the good people, and by the time they complete their internship and be with us for next another 1.5 year of the time, right? We are in Ahmedabad, so the cost of living in Bombay and Ahmedabad are vast. The difference as well. We're
So
able to maintain the resource for at least 2 years as well. Able to pay them a lower cost, make sure to maintain our margins as well, make sure to make them certify also. So I go to my OEM and tell them, hey, you have to make all the certifications free for them, and they're getting certified also. And that's how the whole ecosystem is actually set, and making sure that we maintain our margins, grow our revenues and everything as well.
so
The
so,
other
so
question of yours.
basically, I mean, you got a pipeline of
Yes, I've got a pipeline of the surplus resources. So right now, any OEM is trusting me because of one reason: Sunny has a surplus of resources.
right,
Right?
and
Sunny can deploy.
at the same time, like I said earlier, each of these people are your customers 10 years later.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right now, it's already happening.
Yeah.
So the people that I've trained from 2010 to 17,
Uh-huh.
right? Just before our podcast, I've been to an event, and I met a lot of people who are now a CISO, who are now a VP in many of the organizations as well.
Mhm.
And for me, I mean, I don't have to go and tell them that, what we have been doing. It's all like what problems that you have, what risk you have, and what services I can actually bring in onto a table and, add a value to your particular things as well. Now, coming to our cash flow, which is obviously a very valid question, and I would love to clarify on those particular cash flows. So, most of our customers, they've got a debt. I mean, they are mandated by regulatory bodies, right? So, India has got, there are 14 regulatory bodies, have got different cybersecurity framework. We are predominantly dominating the market of RBI cybersecurity framework and a SEBI cybersecurity framework. SEBI, we are actually serving 200 plus customers.
Mhm.
Right, where we have got brokers, PMS, merchant bankers, VC firms, we have got RTAs, we have got depository participants, we have got market institutions also like MCX.
Mhm.
Now, all these customers, they have this framework published in a month of August.
Mhm.
The deadline was given, that is December. Again, it got extended to March, and then got extended to final. It is the June. Now, what happens is the customer is, we have done all our tasks, we have done all our things. There are certain things which are pending at a customer's end, and we need to issue a certificate of compliance or some attestation of the compliance as well.
Right.
We raise an invoice, but the invoice are pending for some days. The reason behind it, because there are certain things the customer need to get it done from their particular end also.
Mhm.
And when this deadline gets extended on the very last day where we already raised the invoice, the
Mhm.
customer go on a very cold mode, saying that Sunny Bhai or my team, my PMO team will do it, after 15 days because we got other priorities to actually finish, as well. So
Mhm.
that's why receivables has gone to some, the extent.
Yeah.
And because of that receivables in the month of March, it has actually resulted into some negative cash flows. But let me tell you, Amrish, we have already recovered more than 68% in the month of April and in the month of May itself. So the average cycle, which was actually going at around 45 days, has increased to around 90 days of that particular cycle itself. So we already recovered almost all of it.
Yeah. Now it is back to normal.
Yeah, it's a better normal. Yes. It's a better normal. On an average, for a company, we have certain receivables like 1.5 to 2 crore rupees is pending, but that always goes because, that comes in track. We
Right.
also, done a lot of process changes. So right now, what we are doing for all these regulated customers, we raise an invoice and they have a deadlines to follow. We say that we'll definitely do that when we get a confirmation that in how much time the money is to be deposited.
Mhm.
There is no money is to be, pending to be recovered if there is problem at your end that you have not done the task at your end, right?
Right.
You need to recover it, and we'll give you a provisional thing, and then we'll give you a final certificate once your everything is actually done as well. Now, the best part is the customer cannot submit the provisional certificate to the regulators also, because the regulator put the penalties as well.
Right.
So by the time the provisional certificate is received, the customer feel a lot of pressure that I have to work and make sure implement this technology, patch the problems, and make sure to give them for another re-audit in my organization. So these are process changes we have done. There are recovery mechanisms we have set. A new receivable team member, at least one member that we have got, who is very good at doing all the receivable recoveries as
But one good thing is you can't afford not to pay your auditor.
well. Correct. Sorry, I didn't get it.
You can't afford not to pay your auditor.
Yeah, absolutely.
End of the day, you're auditing. You can delay it, but you can't afford not to pay.
Absolutely, you're right.
Tell me, I mean, there's a huge amount which is going, like in the objects of the issue, a huge investment is going to human resources. So I assume you'll be recruiting a new team, and these are the salaries for them.
Correct.
I
So
mean,
currently we need to understand the revenue breakup as what we are getting. So 86% of the revenue in our company is coming from the domestic market right now. And the rest of the other revenue is coming from the international market.
mhm,
Right now, we are working with a couple of channel partners in the international market who are actually working on behalf of us and getting a business for us,
mhm,
right? And offloading that particular business to us. But right now, the cybersecurity market spend in India and the globe has a vast difference. Keeping that in mind, we are actually globally expanding.
okay,
We'll be having a team member in Middle East. We're going to we'll be having team members, sales personnel teams in USA, in Africa. So these regions are predominantly we are targeting to make sure that we have those senior leadership in the sales and the pre-sales that we are going to get in those regions, so that actually we have the presence in those regions as well, and we get more business from that regions as well.
so you expect revenues to start in about 6 to 9 months from the time you recruit these guys?
Yeah, in at least 6 months of the time.
6 months time. Okay, okay,
Absolutely.
fine.
Now, when you have those sales presence, you require some sort of a delivery people, over here as well.
Right.
Right now, we have young team, dynamic team. There are senior leadership that we already having, but we're going to increase that senior leadership number in a delivery and an operations part as well.
Okay.
So those people in a proportional manner will be hired for our delivery, in India as well. Currently, we are having a sales presence in 7 cities across India. We are going to expand it to at least 15 major cities in India as well, so that we have different industry customers which can be targeted in the 15 other cities in India as well.
Okay. So just one last question. We generally advise on how to safeguard one's investments. That's our job. And most of us do our investments and banking transactions online. So
Correct.
what would your advice be to all of us on how to safeguard our data and computers from hacking and data theft? And would you have any solution which is comparatively affordable for individuals like us?
Uh, See, one thing is you need to understand, you need to make yourself aware about what to do, what not to do.
Hmm.
Right. So it's a basic thing. I would say that it's a necessity for everyone to learn about do's and don'ts of, when you come online, right?
Right.
I must say that do not open any sort of a untrusted link, right? Don't just go crazily download any app that you get on the internet and install on your things.
Mhm.
People have been very active on Telegram groups and downloading each and everything from Telegram groups, which does not have much of the security in place,
Right.
that may hack your phone itself or
Mhm.
computer itself, right? So don't do any sort of things from those unknown sources, right? And last but not the least, always make a use of those licensed softwares. People are in India, they don't believe in investing into the
I
licenses
could
for
say,
their
yeah.
personal devices, right? What you get when you buy a computer, you get a 1 year subscription and nobody bother to renew it, right? Please, there is a lot of difference in the license and an unlicensed the software. Always try to invest at least some uh, 500 to 1000 rupees. It'll make you secure as well, right? And you need to keep aware yourself about different do's and don'ts, because it's a cat and mouse game, right? There
Yeah.
are new modus operandis of cyber crimes are coming. You need to make sure not to entertain anyone. And most importantly, when you're getting something for free, you need to understand nothing is free in the world.
There's
When you
no
take
free
that
lunch.
free thing, right, it comes with a cost, and the cost is your data
Can be
breach,
huge. Can be huge. Yeah.
right? And that's why you need to make sure that nothing is free and you don't go with this free lucrative offers and some percentage of the coupons and all of that.
Thank you, Sunny, for patiently answering all the queries. And thanks to all the viewers for logging in. Hope you found this chat interesting, and I look forward to catching up with all of you again quite soon.
Thank you, Ambrish, for having me on this podcast and
Yep.
hearing me out. Thank you.
Thank you.